Or let's say it together. Happy birthday, AmeriCorps VISTA.
Happy birthday, AmeriCorps VISTA.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful that you all are coming here today to reflect, to celebrate, and even join us in the promise of an even greater future for AmeriCorps VISTA. Special thanks to Paul Montero for the outstanding job he is doing as our National Director of AmeriCorps VISTA. Now, please don't let his youthful good looks fool you. He is very accomplished. He has a law degree. He's experienced working for the United States Senate. He's an adjunct professor at the University of Maryland in his past, and he was a liaison for low-income communities serving in the Office of Public Engagement at the White House. So don't let those youthful good looks fool you. He's quite a leader, and we're really pleased that he's leading AmeriCorps VISTA. More importantly, Paul is a devoted public servant and someone with a tremendous heart for service. Another great champion that I'd like to thank in our audience today is in our national service movement is a VISTA alum, our nation's fantastic Director of AmeriCorps, and my brother in service, Bill Basil. Bill, let us recognize you. I know Bill's here. Thanks, Bill. Truly dedicated, thank you, Bill, dedicated public servant as well, and we appreciate your service to our country as well, Bill. A mighty team of 25 Americans 50 years ago has grown to more than 190,000 AmeriCorps VISTA alums who served in thousands of sites and service locations. Today, annually, almost 8,000 AmeriCorps VISTAs serve. It's truly phenomenal to think that from the video that you saw, starting out with a couple of dozen dedicated Americans, now has grown to 190,000 alums. From recruiting scores of volunteer tutors and mentors to creating adult literacy awareness campaigns to connecting veterans to housing and job opportunities, AmeriCorps VISTA members have helped create what President Obama refers to as ladders of opportunity for millions of Americans. I love that reference. You can just visualize ladders of opportunities, small but mighty steps to give Americans the opportunity to either get out of poverty or never even enter poverty. And that's what AmeriCorps VISTA embraces. Either get out of poverty or never even enter poverty. And that's what AmeriCorps VISTA embraces. Speaking of President Obama, he has a very special message. No, he's not waiting backstage, but I have the next closest thing with a very special message he wants to bring to you.
Hi, everybody. Congratulations to everyone at AmeriCorps VISTA on your 50th anniversary. And I can tell you from experience that 50 isn't so bad. When President Johnson launched VISTA at the White House, he said this to the first class of just 24 volunteers: "Your pay will be low. The conditions of your labor will often be difficult. But you will have the satisfaction of leading a great national effort. And you will have the ultimate reward which comes to those who serve their nation and who serve their fellow man." Over the decades since, VISTA's small but mighty core of determined individuals has grown to almost 8,000 and continues to embody that selfless commitment to service. What you've built adds up to more than women's shelters, food banks, and affordable housing, but true ladders of opportunity for Americans in some of our nation's most underserved communities. Today, VISTA members and their partners are leading that great national effort into the 21st century with a renewed focus on early childhood education and learning in science, technology, engineering, and math, and supporting veterans and military families. I'm honored to celebrate this milestone with you, in part because I wouldn't be who I am today if it weren't for the service of others, or the purpose that service gave my own life. You may know I got my start as a community organizer in neighborhoods where steel plants had closed down and jobs had dried up. The pay was low. The work was hard. But what I found was that making a difference in other people's lives made a difference in mine. I found that reward that President Johnson spoke of all those years ago. That's why my administration's been determined to find new ways to expand and improve national service and help AmeriCorps programs like VISTA succeed. We've reached out to the private sector, and we've brought nonprofits on board to help. It's all because we've seen the outcomes that AmeriCorps members produce, the lives they change, the communities they strengthen, the hope they inspire. So if we're smart, Congress will fund this calling that's meant so much to so many and keep AmeriCorps strong. So happy birthday, AmeriCorps VISTA, and thank you all for your service.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. President, for that kind message. I really appreciate it. He said 50 isn't all bad. The President and I share a couple of things in common that I had a conversation with him about recently. I said, Mr. President, you and I were born both in 1961. We turned 50 the same year. We're both left-handed, although I pointed out he plays golf right-handed, left-handed, and I play golf right-handed. I told him that was completely wrong on his part. So maybe he'll take me up on a challenge to play golf, and we'll see who's right on that. And he signed the Serve America Act on my birthday, and I thought that was really cool of him to do that. I don't know if he meant to do that, but it's great pleasure and honor to serve him, and I think his support for AmeriCorps VISTA and all of national service and all of our programs, including the Social Innovation Fund and state commissions and our programs around the country, is undeniably strong, and we are very, very honored to have him and other leaders across the country in a very bipartisan support. Something happens when you turn 50. Do you know what that is? It chases you and it finds you in the mail, for those of you who've turned 50. What follows you is an AARP card. So now I'm pleased to announce that AmeriCorps VISTA is now a member of AARP. Congratulations. Just can't beat that. So, and what's great is I really kind of make a joke of this, but AARP has been a great partner with AmeriCorps VISTA and all of our national service programs. And I think it's great that they provide opportunities for older Americans and some that don't look so old, but are older Americans like me, to apply their skills and experience through national service programs like Experience Corps, which is one very great program. So congratulations. We're glad that AmeriCorps VISTA has their AARP card. I'll send the $10 in myself on behalf of AmeriCorps VISTA. I'll share something else very special about VISTA. How many of you watched the Oscars this Sunday? I did. I loved it, or some of the reruns from it. Yeah, I'm an Oscars fan. Well, did you know that AmeriCorps VISTA, VISTA at the time, has its own Oscar? I don't know how many of you knew that. We have there we go. There's an Oscar, and it was a documentary that Paul Newman helped produce and narrated. And here's a little clip. Pay attention to these few seconds.
One of the first lessons of VISTA learns is that the poor are not waiting to be helped. They are reluctant to give up their accustomed ways. In Lukachukai, there are no phones, and walking is the main form of transportation.
Okay, so I love that. The walking was many forms of transportation for the early AmeriCorps VISTAs. I'm glad we allow you to ride in cars and take buses and other things, and not just for on foot, but I thought that was really interesting. That video, actually, if you Google a 1966 Oscar and documentary and VISTA, you'll get it. There are two parts worth watching. For those of you who've served, you'll particularly enjoy it. I enjoyed watching it this past weekend, so you'll enjoy that. The very first VISTA class I mentioned of a couple of dozen very special Americans answered the call to serve 50 years ago. At that date, their ages ranged from 21 to 71. They hailed from 15 different states, and they signed up for a noble yet bold mission that our nation's leaders urged them to join. It was called the fight against poverty. During their service terms, they organized housing programs in our nation's cities. They led education initiatives in rural areas, created youth counseling programs on our nation's American Indian reservations, a very key part of their service. Today we celebrate the 50th anniversary of the AmeriCorps VISTA program. And let us remember these 24 AmeriCorps VISTA members who were pioneers, who focused their efforts on giving a voice to the nation's voiceless. I think very, very important for us to reflect on. It's their journey and the journey of thousands of others, 190,000 to be exact, who followed in their footsteps, forced us to re-examine the core of who we are at very important times in our nation's history. For example, in 1973, they emboldened us to invest more of our resources in low-income housing. In 1988, they encouraged us to rethink our approach to literacy and education. In 1994, they urged us to lead more Americans with disabilities on a pathway to employment. And today, AmeriCorps VISTA members are serving in all of these areas and leaning in to support today's veterans who are returning from war and oftentimes in need of services to connect them to jobs, educational opportunities, housing, counseling, and more. In fact, AmeriCorps VISTA just recently helped Salt Lake City meet its goal to end chronic homelessness among veterans last year, which now has inspired 438 communities across the country to join the mayor's challenge to end homelessness for veterans, announced and supported by the First Lady only a few months ago. Isn't that fantastic that VISTA is taking a part in that? It's really great. It really is. Today we build on the foundation that AmeriCorps VISTA program has laid for our country. Here's a statistic that illustrates the power of this program, and I really like this. We were able to study this and look into our data. 84% of VISTA projects continue in some way, shape, or form long after VISTA members complete their projects and their finishing touches on them. That's really significant, folks, that these initiatives that were stood up, created, formed in some places by a single VISTA member, and sometimes teams of VISTAs working with nonprofits and faith organizations and local community organizations, continue today. And last year, AmeriCorps VISTA members raised, and I love this number, $160 million in cash and in-kind resources in support of anti-poverty programs. That means that AmeriCorps VISTA members help organizations build their capacity and expand their services. It's truly significant. In our quest to build on this success, we have increased our partnerships between agencies, nonprofits, and the private sector. And I want to give you a couple of examples that I'm real proud of. If I had time, I would talk for the next 24 hours and give you the examples, but I'm going to limit it to three. One is called ServiceWorks. This is a collaboration between the Citibank Foundation, AmeriCorps VISTA, and Points of Light Foundation in an exciting $10 million three-year investment for young people across the country. Over the next 3 years, 225 AmeriCorps VISTAs will help 25,000 youth in 10 cities, serving alongside staff members and volunteers from Citibank employees and others in the community to develop the skills and training they need to prepare for colleges and jobs. 25,000 youth, opportunity youth who are today not connected to careers or education, somewhat maybe even wandering and looking for a purpose. And these AmeriCorps VISTAs and the volunteers are going to help find their way. It's the largest corporate-sponsored AmeriCorps VISTA program in the country. So congratulations for ServiceWorks. The second opportunity I want to share with you is AmeriCorps VISTA serving in Shriver Corps. Well, that name should be familiar to you. Shriver Corps will help lift a national nonprofit become more efficient and more connected to the families and communities it serves. Our agency is investing $1 million in this initiative, which is inspired by Sergeant Shriver, the man himself, the leader of President Johnson's War on Poverty initiatives and a visionary who helped create the VISTA program. As a part of this, a third one, as a part of the Aspire Mentoring Corps. Now, if you've watched any television in the last couple of weeks, you have seen the ad from AT&T. I have seen it dozens of times. This is a new partnership with AT&T and the organization Mentor, the National Mentoring Partnership, AmeriCorps VISTA together. These AmeriCorps VISTA members will help strengthen nearly 150 mentoring programs in 6 cities across the country. Their work will connect more caring adults to children and youth who need them. And we know from research, recent research, that mentoring really is vastly effective on young people who need some guidance and maybe a caring adult or a guardian angel to steer them in the right direction. As these examples show, collaboration is tremendously important to our work. In fact, one could argue it's the very heart of what we do. That is because national service starts with the partnerships we form with the communities where our members serve, with parents, with teachers, with returning heroes and military families, with community leaders, and so many others who join us to put service above self. This service mission has helped spur a breakthrough period for AmeriCorps. Our economy is growing, we're creating more jobs than ever, and more of our nation's students are graduating than ever before. And we're there to help. You are there to help in these important needs. In fact, I've discovered something very special about AmeriCorps Vistas as I travel around the country connected to jobs. I kept learning and talking to AmeriCorps Vista alums and AmeriCorps alums about where they are today. And they would tell me who they're working for and about their start. And there was a common theme, one not surprising to us, that 60% of AmeriCorps members and AmeriCorps Vista members pursue public service as a career after they've graduated from AmeriCorps or AmeriCorps Vista. Not surprising at all. But what is a little bit of a surprise to me, that I'm finding that local nonprofits and local community organizations are actually creating jobs for these AmeriCorps VISTA members. Now, I don't have the stats behind this yet. We haven't done the research on it, but I've done Wendy's research. That means I've asked a lot of people everywhere I travel, and I stop them, and when they tell me where they work, I said, wait a minute, how did you get this job? Well, I served with this organization when I was at AmeriCorps VISTA, and I was fortunate enough to be offered a job afterwards. And I said, let me ask you another question. Were you filling a job that was open in that organization? Or did the organization create a job for you? And you would not believe how many times these alums are telling me, well, actually, they created the job for me. So now I've started asking these nonprofits and local community organizations, why did you do that? Why did you create a job? And here's the consistent message I'm getting. 2 different things. One is about the individual. They tell me that the AmeriCorps member himself, the AmeriCorps VISTA member, we really liked his or her talents. He or she became a part of the team, and they were very productive. And we had sort of a year-long interview, if you will, sometimes 2 years. And we really couldn't see our organization without them serving with us. So we created and invested to support them with a full-time job. The other theme is the individual may have moved on to go to college or pursue some other career opportunity, but they say the work they were doing, writing grants, standing up initiatives, recruiting volunteers, raising the capacity of our organization, was so valuable, we just absolutely couldn't see our organization thriving without that work. So we created a position, and then we recruited, in most cases, an AmeriCorps VISTA or AmeriCorps alum to fill it. Now, this is really kind of a game changer to me, because it really puts us into the economic impact in a new way game, but it also truly provides a pathway to a great economic future for these national service participants. So I'm particularly pleased of this Wendy survey that I'm doing around the country, and I'm going to continue to ask that question. So let's think about today as an opportunity to ensure that the road ahead for every American is brighter and better. A commitment to service and the belief that each of us, every one of us, has a role to play in strengthening our communities, which has been at the heart of our nation's story since its founding. And I know that together we can ensure that service will continue to create more of those ladders of opportunity for those who strive to escape the clutches of poverty, or hopefully never even enter it. To the VISTA alums here today and across the nation who are watching, I thank you on behalf of President Obama and on behalf of the entire family of the Corporation for National and Community Service. And to the rest of you, I ask each of you, including the alums, to help us find more ways to support individual VISTAs in their service. And we want your ideas to help us find more opportunities for VISTAs to serve. Will you help us? Are you in? Yes? You're with me? All right. Very good. Thank you so much for being with us. And happy birthday, AmeriCorps VISTA. It's great that you're here today. Thank you so much. Now, I have a very special honor to introduce a very, very special leader and guest. As I mentioned earlier, the Academy Awards recognized a documentary that profiled a VISTA program and the service of VISTA members in 1966. But if there were an Oscar for a lifetime achievement in national service, and maybe I'll lobby just for that because I think it's a really cool idea, it would definitely go to our friend Harris Wofford. Few Americans have done more to advance the cause of citizen service than Harris Wofford. From launching the Peace Corps to crafting legislation that expands national service opportunities through AmeriCorps and Senior Corps, he has inspired, and I mean inspired, and continues to inspire countless Americans to pursue their own path of public service and make a difference in the lives of others. President Clinton appointed Harris to serve as the CEO of the Corporation for National and Community Service from 1995 to 2001. During his tenure, he provided strong and visionary leadership, built bipartisan support, very core to his mission, and forged new partnerships with the nonprofit sector. He is a true inspiration to all of us.